We're now ready to begin adding the leather texture to the cover of our book. And to do that, I just want to focus on the cover again. So I'll go up to the cover and press Shift to get rid of that. Also want to change my matte cap and get back to one of the better textures that we were using. Now, we added some texture before, early on, using the clay tubes. And it's important now that we start to focus on softening this a little bit, and then also adding in an actual leather texture, which we do with an alpha map. And we kind of used a multiple of textures, one where we just start to paint on the alpha, and also where we start to stamp on the alpha. So I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. First thing, however, is I want to increase my brush and just hold down Shift, make sure my intensity is not insane, and I want to go over the book gently with the smooth and soften this. So I still want to leave some of the texture, that's fine, but I just want to soften it up because the leather is going to really give us everything that we're looking for. Alright, one more. Okay, so the book is now prepared and ready for leather. The brush we're going to use for that will just be our standard brush once again. And I'm going to go to my alpha and go down to, I have two leather textures, an alpha 56 and an alpha 57. I want 56 because it has the cross hatching, and because I have the stroke currently set with the dots, I'm going to just paint that in very quickly just to see what results I'm getting. Now the one thing you will notice with this particular brush is it has a tendency to, the alpha has a tendency to have a hard edge to it, and so we definitely don't want the hard edge. We do like what's happening with the leather. It's not enough, I want more, but I'm going to just make a couple of adjustments now to try to improve on it. The first thing is our focal shift is still set all the way down, if you recall when I was showing you that skin texture technique, and that's one of the reasons why the alpha is getting a hard edge. So I'm going to bring that alpha back up at least to the roughly to the 0 mark, but my intensity is also set way low, so I'm going to bring that up to roughly to about a 10, and once again paint and see what we get. That results a bit too strong for the leather, and again you can see we have that hard edge line, which is not going to work. So this particular alpha you can either take into Photoshop and rework, or it's somewhat of a delicate dance. It's literally just a matter of playing with the focal shift and playing with the intensity setting, because what I want to do is lay down a very gentle leather texture like this, and so you can see I'm not really getting the striations of the edges anymore, and it's giving me this really nice looking leather, and that's exactly what I'm going for. So I know that my settings are working well, which in this case I have a 5 on intensity and a 13 on focal shift. Also the distance, however, that you are from the book, if you're in closer, is going to make a big difference in the amount of detail that you get. So it is critical that when you're doing this, that you kind of keep the book roughly at the same distance so that your leather remains uniform throughout. And so now I have this side, and that works really well. So I think we're good. I just want to add a little bit more to the front, but this leather is uniform all throughout. There's no uniqueness to it, no unique pattern. And one of the things that I tend to do is I'll go to my drag rectangle and I'll literally pull, and you can see how it kind of brings in the leather. It brings in the leather detail. Obviously I don't want it to be very big, but sometimes just stamping just a little bit of this additional detail breaks up the monotonous. of everything being perfect. So I'll just pull that in just a little bit in a few different places. It's really subtle. We're going for subtleness here. In fact, subtleness is going to always read better in many cases than bold and right in your face. Okay, let's just hit the edges here gently so that we make sure that we've covered the entire book. Woo! I love it when ZBrush does that. So much fun. Okay. And finally the top of the book, and we'll be finished. Now how simple was that? Remember what I mentioned earlier? There's no reason for you to have to work hard to make it look like you worked hard. You can just quit when you're happy and know that you achieved the look you were after. So that does it for the leather. Next step now, we jump onto the octopus.